Time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! If this is escape, then we're the pod. Use the pod!
Hey, welcome back to the Escape Pod. My name is Josh, your host, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Star Wars Escape Pod is a podcast for both new fans, old fans, and I wanted to take this time to introduce a few terms to new fans who may not be familiar with those terms, bringing you up to speed on Lucasfilm as a company, having been bought by Disney and all this and that. So we're currently in hyperspace en route to Tatooine, and we're going to be meeting a buddy of mine there at the Mos Espa Cantina to talk all about Vader Immortal Episode 1. It's a VR experience. He had a great time playing that, and we're going to be walking through that whole experience with him. He's going to be our first co-host on the show, so I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, while we're en route, I figured I would just catch some of you up to speed. So Star Wars Canon, Star Wars Legends, Star Wars Expanded Universe. There's three terms that I really want you guys to kind of pay attention to as I explain them all, and following conversations might be a lot easier. So Disney purchased Lucasfilm back on October 30th, 2012, and it left a lot of fans eager for what Disney had in store for their franchise. So it made George Lucas a billionaire, and he walked away having been retired and left his treasure trove of ideas to his newly appointed CEO, Kathleen Kennedy. And this all happened when Disney acquired, or just before and slightly after Disney acquired the company. And when Disney did acquire the company, they announced a new trilogy, which has so far been the sequels that we've had, which is Star Wars The Force Awakens, aka Episode 7, and Star Wars The Last Jedi, aka Episode 8. Along the way, we got some anthology movies, which ended up being Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and Solo, A Star Wars Story. So they've put out 4 movies and a few TV shows at this point, books and comics galore. So what I really wanted to cover, though, was the fact that Disney also issued in this new canonicity almost form of looking at Star Wars content, Star Wars story content, that is. So when you pick up a book that's been published by Lucasfilm or Del Rey or Disney Publishing today, it is considered Star Wars canon. Now, Star Wars canon means that it's the root of the story. So there is nothing that's going to be interfering with it, or it shouldn't, and it does have relevance to the current content that's being released in terms of TV shows, other books, other films. Canon means that it is supposed to flow naturally with the timeline that's being established, and it's an important term to remember, just that things that are within the Star Wars canonicity or the Star Wars canon, those things have a larger impact on future things and past things, and they can be considered more relevant than things that are considered legends or aka Star Wars Expanded Universe things. So Star Wars The Expanded Universe was anything before the Disney acquisition. That's video games, comics. A good example of that would be the 2D Clone Wars animated series, and the Force Unleashed video games, and the holiday special, that's a good example, Ewok Adventures. All those things are very much not canon. Those are expanded universe. A lot of the Dark Horse comics that came out back in the day, those are all expanded universe. So they've been sub-labeled as Star Wars Legends. And Star Wars Legends is Star Wars content that's not canon, but still could be recycled at a later point in time for the Star Wars canon, because they are Star Wars stories. They have valuable, sentimental attachments to fans in some scenarios, such as the Force Unleashed video games that remain to be some of the best Star Wars video games I think fans have played in forever from Star Wars. So a lot of things like that, they've been sub-labeled as legends, and it's just worth it's worth knowing what is canon, what is legends, or expanded universe. Either or term works. So canon and legends, those are two very important terms, and knowing those things as we go forward with this podcast is very much a relevant thing to know, just so that you can stay on top of what it means when we talk about Star Wars canon. A lot of the stuff that we will be talking about in the podcast will be Star Wars canon, but if it ever comes up that it's not Star Wars canon, now you know exactly what we're going to be talking about when it comes to things that are relevant to current Star Wars stories and things that are not. So I just wanted to fill you in on that, and that's about it. So we're coming out of hyperspace soon here, and we're going to be meeting my buddy Reed down at that cantina that I mentioned earlier, so I'm looking forward to having you guys on for that. And thanks for tuning in to this little blurb. If you're new to Star Wars, I hope this helped. If you're not new to Star Wars, hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to having you join us for future episodes. So the first official episode is the next one up. We're going to be talking all about Vader Immortal, episode 1, and I'm super stoked to be talking about that. So thanks again, and may the Force be with you. See you soon.